I like to eat, y'all. We all do. So hey guys, my name is Portia, and I'm here today to let you know how I lost 30 pounds in 3 months. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I am from Vero Beach, Florida originally, and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia 3 years ago after I got my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Just to give you some background on what life was like for me in high school, I was a competitive cheerleader. I cheered on two to three teams at once for most of my high school years. It got me in shape really fast. It leaned me out. I was pretty muscular. I was known around school as Portia Diesel. I went to a very athletic, influenced school, so that's just how everything was. I was very small. I could eat what I wanted to, and I had no trouble getting the weight off or even gaining it back. I never gained it back. So fast forward, I got accepted to FAMU in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to college, and for my first 2 years, I was involved in some dance troupes, and they make you do strenuous line processes, and you're just very active once you join something like that in college. So once I did that, I was still able to maintain my weight of around 150 pounds, very lean, not much body fat, and very muscular. Then I got accepted into nursing school. That's when the weight piled on. I also was working at Cold Stone Creamery, and if you're familiar with that, it's like a ice cream place where we mix the candy and the ice cream and the mix-ins with your ice cream, and that's when the weight started rolling in. And I was also very stressed. I had a lot of school work. I went to a very competitive nursing school, and they were very hard on us because we were going to be nurses from a historically Black school, so it was important for them to hold that standard up to us. So I worked pretty hard to get the degree that I have. If you see me looking over here, it's just because I made notes on what I would talk about today. So after nursing school, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. At that point, I was around 190 pounds. And I believe my very first doctor's appointment in Atlanta, Georgia, my weight was 183. I met my boyfriend shortly a few months after, and fast forward to January 2020, I was 209 pounds, which quite frankly was a lot. I'll put pictures throughout all of this just so you guys can follow along and see my weight fluctuations and everything like that. So first I'm just going to talk about the workouts and things that I did to lose the weight. My first thing I told myself was I'm going to commit to 30 minutes a day, like I as a nurse recommend my patients do at least 3 times a week. And I also struggled with telling people that every day if I wasn't doing the same. So I committed to 30 days a week, whether it be in the gym, at home, or even just at work. I work quite a bit, and as a nurse you're on your feet and you do a lot of strenuous work, so I committed to that 30 minutes a day, and I did not give myself a chance to back out of that. So secondly, I did a lot of HIIT training. HIIT training is high intensity interval training. It's very effective when it comes to burning fat. You do high intensity intervals and then you rest for short periods of time in between. So I did that, and it worked really well for me. The weight was sliding off. For the entire 3 months, I was losing on average 1 to 2 pounds a week, 10 pounds per month. And it was really, really consistent. And I noticed that, so I kept it up. And I also did a 30-day 100 burpee challenge. Everybody knows that burpees are really just awful. Burpees are awful. And I've only done a handful of burpees since I finished that challenge. So I committed to that. I seen a fun challenge on YouTube, and I told myself hey, maybe this is what you need to get started with your journey. So I did it. For 30 days, I sat there and I did 100 burpees. I did include it in my 30 minutes a day, And near the end of the challenge, I was able to do all 100 burpees in 10 to 15 minutes. And then the other 15 minutes, I would do regular HIIT training. Also, on my off days from work, I did 2-a-days. I would wake up in the morning when Roderick is my significant other, when he would go to work, I would wake up, say bye to him, and then I would do 30 minutes of workouts, sometimes as long as 45 minutes, depending on how I was feeling. And then later in the day, before it was time to like cook dinner and get situated for work the next day, I would do another 30 minutes of working out. Sometimes just 15. It really just depended on how I was feeling that day, but I did always make sure I did 30 minutes in a day. So for the next part of the video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my food. I like to eat, y'all. We all do.
I would have wrote it.
Well, you implied that.
I said what I said.
So that was my biggest problem. I like to eat. Me and Roderick's pastime, as far as like our hobbies and things that we enjoy doing together, was going on dates to try new foods. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a food mecca. There's so many types of food, good foods, and he is originally from here, so he knows all the spots, all the holes in the wall, everything. And he took me to all of them, okay? So I was enjoying myself, baby. I was eating everything. So once I started realizing that my food was a big problem for me, the very first thing I did was I committed to drinking a gallon of water every day. My doctor recommended that I at least drink half my body weight in ounces to a gallon a day. So I did just that. I was pissy, but I did drink my gallon a day. I also documented it, put it on my Instagram story. That helped. It causes you to be a little bit more proud to see like, oh, hey, I drank my gallon of water today. So I made a habit of that, drinking it, posting it, getting other people at work to drink the gallon with me, just involving as many people as possible to help me keep up with my water intake. So secondly, I cut out dairy, pork, beef if it was not lean, and the dairy of all of that was probably the hardest. You never know how much dairy you eat or consume until you can't eat that anymore. And sugar. Sugar was a problem. Sugar is in everything. I knew that, but I didn't really know that, to the extent that I wasn't even able to eat ketchup sometimes, which was pretty tough. I don't plan on doing that forever, but at that time, at the weight of 209, I did feel that was necessary for me to get some of my weight off. So that's what I did. As snacks, I would eat fruit. I have always liked fruit, so that wasn't really as much of an issue, as opposed to I'm a chip person. If I don't have chips with my sandwich, if I don't have chips with as a snack, if I don't have chips, my chip that ass, but if I don't have chips, I was sad. So I had to get rid of that. I had to get used to not eating chips so much. I had to get used to when I was craving something that was gonna have to be some mango, which ain't bad, but it ain't hot Cheetos either. Okay. I increased my protein. So since I committed to 30 minutes a day, and for the most part I was doing pretty strenuous exercise, it was really important for me to increase my protein. So fish, chicken, like just everything that is full of protein, I was trying to add it to my diet. I also took a protein shake in the morning. Sometimes I get my protein shake from GNC. I get the chocolate. I started out with the vanilla, but that's kind of filthy once you start drinking a vanilla shake every day. So I had to cut that out and I started drinking chocolate. I also did not try, well, I tried keto for a week. Keto is hard. Keto wasn't fun. After that week, I said, this ain't even necessary, baby. Because I had already been losing weight without it. So I just went back to my basics. Keto was really hard because you can eat dairy, but you can't eat too much dairy. You can eat bacon and stuff, but you can't eat too much bacon. And it was just really a lot of pressure on me. And you can only eat berries. Like, I would try to eat an apple, and there would be like 10 grams of carbs and you can only eat like 50 grams of carbs with keto. So I had to cut that out after a solid, maybe a week, and go back to what I had already been doing. I recently started looking into intermittent fasting. I did not do that during my 3 months, but it is something I looked into, and it has seemed to work for a lot of people. I work 12-hour shifts as a nurse, so a lot of nurses actually do intermittent fasting. I had not participated, but I see how that could be enticing because you include the time you sleep as a part of your fasting hours. So that's pretty reasonable, but I did not in those 3 months use that longer than a day at times, and that was not purposeful. I just wouldn't be able to eat to a certain time. So that's my thing with intermittent fasting. Some of the tips that I got from a lot of friends, a lot of high school classmates. Shout out to Shakara. Shout out to Yesenia. Shout out to my friends and family that was like pushing me to keep losing the weight. Some of the tips that I did get over time. The Fitness Key on Instagram, she recommended this scale, and it just kind of tells you your biometrics in general, how much visceral fat you have, how much subcutaneous fat you have. I'll link the one below that I have, and it kind of gave me an inside view on what areas I needed to really work on. So that really helped. The only thing I will say is it's kind of addicting. I do get on a scale every morning, which is really unhealthy because the scale is not everything. I recommend only getting on the scale maybe once a week, and some people even once a month, if that will keep you sustained and keep you happy. I'm just way too curious, and I really like my scale, so I get on it every morning. I also want to say rest days are very important. In my 3 months, I did not take many at all. In the 3 months, I maybe took like 6 rest days, but for me, it was important to get the workouts in. If I did have a day where I did feel my body needed rest, I would go for a 30-minute walk. I still did my 30 minutes of exercise. But for most people, and people that have had no athletic history, I do not recommend having no rest days. You'll be tired sometimes. You won't have a lot of energy if you're not resting. So I do recommend people rest. I also want to throw out there, I know a lot of people would like to say at the end of their videos, like, I'm not a medical professional. So I'm a medical professional. I'm a registered nurse. But this is not me giving you medical advice. I'm just letting you know what worked for me, what stuff could work for you. And yeah. So thanks for watching today. I hope I gave you some good tips. If I think of some things later, I'll add a clip in. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.